What's up, guys? Welcome to Champion Picks. I'm Jared Champion, and this edition of Champion Picks is my Week 7 fantasy football pickups, and I've got some injury notes and just some things to look into for Week 7. Let's go on. I'm not going to really talk about the guys I talked about last week. I told you to pick up Brian Hoyer if you need a quarterback. He got you 300 yards passing. Cameron Meredith had another great game this week. And then the other guys, most of them are on bye. Bilal Power still plays tonight, Monday night. Ben Roethlisberger got hurt. He just got scoped today, so he should be back in like 2 to 3 weeks. They were on a bye. He's going to be out on one of their bye weeks. I think it's the week after next. And so you're only really missing him for 2 full games, and you already expected to bye. So you could use Tannehill at home versus the Bills next week, or Marcus Mariota at home versus Indy. And Mariota's coming off 2 25-point fantasy week games. As you saw, the Bengals' offensive line is banged up. They sat their tackle on Sunday, and then their center got hurt. So I think that kind of lowers Andy Dalton's value. And then Giovanni Bernard has been taking all the carries from Jeremy Hill, but the offensive line is struggling. So it's like really bad for Jeremy Hill. But at least Giovanni Bernard's getting the carries. Jeremy Hill was getting the red zone carries, but this week versus the Patriots, he didn't even get those. So it's pretty much all Giovanni Bernard. And then the defense for Baltimore, the veteran Terrell Suggs, their linebacker, he tore his bicep. And then Jimmy Smith. Their best quarterback, Jimmy Smith, is under concussion protocol. So I think Brandon Marshall should have a good game against them next week. So let's look on to some guys that I think you should be picking up. Case Keenum is a good streaming quarterback. He's had 2 back-to-back really good weeks. With buys and injuries, he's somebody that you can look to with matchup. He'll be really good. Vernon Davis is getting a lot of targets now that Jordan Reed's not there. He's still in concussion protocol. And it was Jamison Crowder getting the targets. And then when Jordan Reed was in, Jamison Crowder didn't get as much. And now Vernon Davis is kind of taking that position. So they like that tight end / slot position. But whoever gets the targets is whoever's getting those routes in that position. And this weekend, it was Vernon Davis. Jay Ajayi, I told you to pick him up in like my Week 3 predictions. He got all the work for Miami. So Jay Ajayi, I think, is going to be after that. I mean, he had some issues with the coach and just some reasons why he wasn't starting. But now after their offensive line is healthy again and they cut the rest of those guys, I think Ajayi will be good going forward for the rest of the year. So I think he's still not owned to like 50% of leagues. And then Cole Beasley continues to be a PPR monster. I actually think when Dez Bryant comes back, it makes Cole Beasley even better because defensive concentrate on Cole Beasley instead of Dez Bryant. So and then Kenny Britt, he had a 2 touchdown game, and he had a really good week for somebody that's not owned, but I would steer clear of him, unless you're really desperate. Torrey Smith made a sighting. Torrey Smith has been complaining the whole year that he's been open, but Gabbert can't get him the ball, and Kaepernick got him the ball on I think it was 9 targets, and didn't even really look Curly's way at all. So I think as long as Kaepernick's in, he's going to be getting Torrey Smith the ball, and Torrey Smith is a much better wide receiver than Jeremy Curley is. And then CJ Fedorix, we've talked about him for 2 weeks now. I told you 2 weeks ago that he's somebody to look out for. He caught a touchdown. He caught another touchdown last week, and he caught another touchdown this week. He had 85 yards and a touchdown. He's only 1% owned. In the past 3 weeks, he's been like a top 3 fantasy tight end. So, and then as we saw, LaShawn McCoy took that big hit, and everybody thought he was going to go down. But I still want to handcuff McCoy with Gillislee, because if you saw when Gillislee came in, he got 10 touches for 60 yards and a touchdown, averaging 10 yards per carry. So you can see that the Bills' running game is a product of, I think, the system and the offensive line, and I don't think they'll really miss a step whenever if LaShawn McCoy gets hurt. And this year's been pretty light on injuries, so kind of expect them to start happening. I mean, last year, I don't remember if everybody remembers, but it was crazy how many injuries had happened. And then we're going to go on to some buys or sells. Like I said, Ben Roethlisberger got scoped. He should be back in 3 weeks, with 2 of those weeks, or 1 of those weeks being a bye, and then 2, he's missing 2 games. So if any Steelers wide receiver owners want to freak out and want to sell off some wide receivers from the Steelers, buy them up, because Ben will be back and they'll do you good in the fantasy playoffs. And then I would sell Julian Edelman. He's a possession wide receiver, and it seems like most of those possession passes that Tom Brady is throwing are going to Gronk and or James White and or Martellus Bennett, and the long ball is going to Chris Hogan. So Julian Edelman just like really hasn't been clicking at all on the offense and hasn't found a way to get open and get the ball. And then Coby Fleener's had his biggest game ever, the biggest game this year, this weekend. And if you even watched the game, he caught a touchdown that wasn't even thrown to him. Like, he ran the wrong route, undercut Michael Thomas, jumped in the air, snapped the ball out of the air to a wide open Michael Thomas who was going to catch the touchdown. Coby Fleener made a defender miss and scored. So I think it was kind of fluky this weekend. The Saints are only really good at home. They only really generate a bunch of points at home. So with tight ends being the way they are, if you could get good value of Coby Fleener, I definitely think selling it would be a good idea. Thanks again, everybody, for checking out the videos. If you want to subscribe, click that subscribe button for me. It helps me out. And tomorrow I'll be coming out with some DraftKings starts and stops. And then I'll have my usual NFL and NCAA picks this week. Have a good one.